Salufalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susanna Swiswiki. Coming up.
It is a bit improper for New Zealand to be, involving themselves into our domestic affairs.
Henry Puna returns to the Cook Islands Party. Also, Paris Agreement not enough for Kanaks and...
No. They should be up somewhere that people can see it, it's there.
Pacific shoppers are unhappy with locked up corned beef. Former Cook Islands Prime Minister Henry Puna says he thinks it's improper for New Zealand to involve itself in the domestic affairs of the island nation, and issues between the two countries should be resolved with leaders talking behind closed doors. Mr Puna has become the new president of the Cook Islands Party, the same party as Prime Minister Mark Brown. Caleb Fotheringham, who's in Rarotonga, met with Mr Puna and asked him if he became the party's president because of the current state of the relationship.
Basically, my interest was, domestic, to see the Cook Islands Party become stronger and remain united. Because for me, united leadership is absolutely critical to bring stability to any country. And that is what the Cook Islands Party government has brought to this country since 2010.
Are you concerned by the Cook Islands New Zealand current relationship status though?
Well, our relationship is a very special one. And in fact, in our founding document, one of the pillars is to maintain a cordial relationship with New Zealand, with Australia, and all the countries of the Pacific. Yes, our relationship with New Zealand is very special. It goes back, into history with the migration of the 7 canoes from here to Aotearoa. And of course, I would say there are close to 100,000 Cook Islanders in New Zealand at the moment. So for them, New Zealand is their home. But of course, home will always be the Cook Islands in many ways for them. And so, we must always strive to keep that relationship in a very, very sound footing.
Which I think it's fair to say that it's not in a sound footing at the moment. Recently, Foreign Minister Winston Peters has called on Prime Minister Mark Brown to have a referendum for independence. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, that is something that I know is in the minds of our people. But with all due respect, I think given the special nature of our relationship with New Zealand, it must be underpinned by respect. And we need to respect each other. And I think it is a bit improper for New Zealand to be involving themselves into our domestic affairs. I don't think that's respectful of our relationship. But I think the key is to resolving these diplomatic issues privately, behind closed doors. As adults, we need to sit down and talk about these issues and resolve them away from the public eye. That is, how we should deal with these slight complications moving forward.
Prime Minister Mark Brown has made several comments even prior to the agreement signed that, as well as the Cook Islands consulting New Zealand should be consulting the Cook Islands based on the Joint Centenary Declaration. What do you make of that?
Well, that is one area that the leaders need to get together, and have a private conversation and resolve that, because there is obviously some contradictions in the 2001 Joint Centenary Declaration. I'm fully aware of it. I know about it. Right at the beginning, it states quite clearly that, in its engagement with the international community, the Cook Islands engages as a sovereign nation. And yet there is that proviso, that provision towards the end, where there is, a need to consult with New Zealand. So I think, it's an issue that could easily be resolved by sitting down together and, coming to an understanding how we can move forward without the need to go public, about differences of views over those requirements.
Are you concerned by the funding pause?
Well, it is a matter for New Zealand to determine, and it's their prerogative, and I can't complain about it.
Do you think the New Zealand-Cook Islands relationship could be restored?
Yeah, I have no doubt that it is still in a good place at the moment. Any relationship encounters challenges and misunderstandings at times, but like I said before, sitting down and talking through issues can resolve any disagreement. And that is what I would love to see our leaders do.
It seemed like Prime Minister Mark Brown was a bit surprised that there was the funding pause, given that New Zealand and the Cook Islands were already engaging. Were you surprised that that happened while there was engagement and they were already sitting down and talking?
Yes, well, I thought that was, a bit tough, especially when the process for resolving our differences was in progress, admittedly at the officials level. But as I said earlier on, that's New Zealand's call. And if they're comfortable with it, well, that's their call.
Have you had a chance to see the agreements?
Can I just say that it's very much similar to the partnership document that New Zealand has signed with China in 2014. So really, there's nothing unusual about it. But you will also notice that security is not an issue in that agreement, for obvious reasons. So yeah, I have no problems with the agreement. In fact, I can tell you that, when I was Prime Minister, we were very close with China, and China did some development work here, in the Cook Islands because of our partnership.
You said that security is not an issue in the agreements for obvious reasons. What are the obvious reasons that security is not an issue?
Well, we're mindful and sensitive to, the concerns of New Zealand and other partners. And I think, there's nothing to be lost by having such an issue mentioned in the agreement.
Former New Caledonia Congress President Roch Wamytan says after 10 days of gridlock discussions, he failed to secure the pro-independence mandate. Mr. Wamytan says he refused to sign a final agreement on New Caledonia's future in Paris, instead opting for a draft agreement. While France claimed neutrality, Mr. Wamytan says at the negotiating table it was 2 against 1. Lydia Lewis asked him why he signed the draft agreement when he doesn't agree with it.
Why? Because when we discuss with France, it will be very difficult, the discussion with these sequences, the sequence from it possible for 10 days. Because we face with 2 blocks, non-independentists and France against us. And we discussed first week, second week, and maybe third week. But the problem is when we discuss and negotiated this particular point, like the electoral roll and the right of to vote, but they don't follow us. We try to explain to them that we have a problem, a really problem with that. After 10 days, they oblige us to sign something. We told that we haven't the mandate of our supporters, our parties, to sign something, to sign an agreement, but only a project or draft agreement or propose something. Yeah. It was important for us to return back with a paper and to show, to explain, to present, to debate, for the debate of our political party. It is a stage where we are now. But for the moment, we don't agree with that because we suppose that there will be a second sequence of discussion with France.
When do you propose the second sequence of discussions to be?
The first step for us is, in priority, is to explain to our people. And the second step, after the Congress of Union Caledonian, the main independentist party within the FNKS, my party, and Saturday, the 2nd of August, the meeting of the Congress of the FNKS. And after, the population of people, the Kanak people and the Bangladesh people will decide if we accept this draft agreement or we reject.
There have been unverified reports of bribery or payoffs. Was anybody in the negotiating or leadership team offered anything in return for agreeing to parts of the deal?
We heard such allegation and rumors from here, and friends too. But as I wrote here, it has never been in the minds of Kanak independence leaders to engage in such practices. After the signature of the Matignon Accord 37 years ago with Mr. Chimbao, and with us, and after the signature of Nouméa Accord in 1998, we heard about this same allegation and some rumors like this. Yes.
Were you or anybody in your team successfully bribed, or did anybody try to bribe you?
No, never.
All of the signatories, including yourself, have been offered protection because there have been threats of violence. Tell me about the anger that you have faced since coming back from Paris.
Yes, the anger of the population and the representatives of the different political group, independentist political groups, is especially on the signature, not on the contents, not really on the contents for the moment. But first of all, it was against the fact that we signed something, even if the document that we signed is not the final agreement, but a draft. Yeah. So we have now to explain, to inform our population. But it's very difficult now because we stay, I think, after the signature, maybe we communicate only 5 days after. But the others, the loyalists and the non-independentist movement, the representative, they communicate the day that we signed the document in France. And even if this the document is a draft agreement, everybody here they found that we signed the agreement. So now we have to explain, to inform, but the population, the anger of the population and the delegates and the representative independentist groups, political groups and supporters, they were very angry for the moment. But the tension, the pressure now is decreasing now.
Meanwhile, Sonia Beckers, the leader of the Caledonian Republicans Party and the president of the Provincial Assembly of Southern Province, says the agreement signed in France is final. A spokesperson from her office told RNZ Pacific, as a result of fierce criticism, radical pro-independence leaders like Roch Wamytan have chosen to renege on their commitment. Pacific communities are calling out major supermarket chains for locking up canned corned beef, a staple in many island households. While some stores have placed it behind the counter, citing theft, Pacific shoppers say the move feels unfair, embarrassing and targeted, but others say it's understandable. As Grace Fever Eye reports, the issue is dividing opinion.
At Woolworths Mangere East and Te Atatu South, canned corned beef, a staple in Pacific diet, was recently removed from shelves and kept behind the counter. The item, which now costs close to $8 a can, is found in almost every Pacific household, whether for a to'onai, Sunday feed, or affordable weeknight meal cooked in many ways to feed a big family. Woolworths New Zealand, which owns Countdown, confirmed the move is linked to rising thefts. Their comments have been voiced.
Over the last 2 years, we've been working hard to introduce a number of initiatives to reduce retail crime and improve team and customer safety in our stores. These include team training, trolley lock technology, push-to-talk radios, team safety cameras in all stores, fog cannons, double entry gates, and anti-sweep shelving.
Woolworths reassures customers that corned beef is still available for purchase and that they've rolled out various security measures across stores.
We would like to reassure our customers that there are still sufficient numbers of corned beef products available on our shelves and to shop.
RNZ Pacific went out into the supermarket and spoke to locals on their opinions. Here's what some have said.
At least you got corned beef, it's like a space saver. Yeah, sell it behind the counter.
We're used to corned beef, so it should be there ready for them to access, knowing that with that comes the connotation of being looked at as a thief.
No. They should be up somewhere that people can see it, it's there, but not behind the counter.
I want to hide it from my husband because he loves corned beef.
One shop owner in Mangere has also locked up corned beef, something its owner says it's because it's expensive.
We usually sell corned beef and we put it behind our shelf because of the theft. We have to be very careful about that. And even a lot of things are being stolen, but corned beef is very expensive. That's why we have to put it behind our shelf.
Back in 2015, staff reported the same thing happening in West Auckland stores. Nearly a decade later, the issue hasn't gone away, but shifted to new suburbs with higher prices. Woolworths New Zealand told RNZ Pacific that while there's no national policy to lock up canned corned beef, store managers can make that call if theft is high. After RNZ Pacific made inquiries, Woolworths confirmed the full range of canned corned beef at Te Atatu South is now back on shelves. Woolworths New Zealand says they'll continue to work closely with police, local communities, retail industry groups and government agencies to combat retail crime.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.